Welcome back to Sound Bites, the show about good people doing good things in the food and drink industry. Today I'm interviewing Ole Nielsen. Ole is the CEO and founder of Wineally, an ambitious new platform that's eyeing Nova Scotia as its North American launching pad for an innovative new service that helps consumers find the best wine to enjoy with their meal. Working with the Restaurant Association of Nova Scotia, it's in its early stages of connecting with local restaurateurs keen to improve their customers' wine and dine experience. So thanks, Ole Nielsen, for joining us today on Sound Bites. So I guess the obvious question is, why and when did you create Wineally?
Well, I've been in the wine trade, selling wine online since 2005, and then on the online sales retail only. And for many years, I saw the problem with most customers, wine consumers, saying that I love wine or I like wine, but I know nothing. I thought we need to find a solution for that. And the normal way, as it has always been, is that you have the SOMs taking care of that, but that's less than 1% of restaurants having a SOM. And then looking at the last 3 years, that has been changing a lot to the worst, unfortunately, in the restaurant trade. Basically, wine consumers can't get the help that they want. When we made a lot of market surveys in the UK, in North America, Germany, and Sweden, and so forth, and we asked consumers, if you knew that the wine that you would have in a restaurant, for instance, or buying online, if that would be a great match or a perfect match to the food you're having, would you be willing to spend more? And 88% of wine consumers said yes, yeah, of course, which is not rocket science, because if you don't know if it's going to taste good, or could feel a bit intimidated by how difficult it is with wine, right? And we saw that coming to restaurants, a lot of serving staff are not able to give that kind of wine advice, unfortunately. So we had consumers willing to spend more on wine, coming to restaurants, not able to give them the service so they could spend more on wine. So we just figured out that we need to find a solution for that. So that's the basic idea from the start.
Okay. So and I think that's absolutely very logical. I think a lot of consumers want to go into a restaurant, have the best food and wine experience. But, in restaurants, like you say, that don't have SOMs or don't have super highly educated wait staff, sometimes challenging for them to get the right information. So I understand it took a long time for you to build the algorithm. So maybe talk to us about how the algorithms were built and maybe the people that built them, so they get a sense of how much effort and how sophisticated a tool this is.
Yeah, and how much money we spend on it, right? Yeah. Now, well, what we need to, since wine data is a nightmare. It's all about having the correct wine database, and there's no wine database available with the kind of data that we need. All the wine data is basically based on how to sell a wine. We need to get the data on a wine so we could give it what we call it a wine DNA, making it pairable or matchable with a dish with a specific DNA on the dish. So we need to build up a wine database, which we have. So now we got 750,000 wines that are in the market, not that should have been consumed 10 years ago, but wines that are in the market. So basically the wines that most wine consumers will have at home or in a restaurant. And then we need to categorize the wines in a specific way. And that took us a very long time, years, to find out or to collect the data and get it in the right way. Luckily, we had a great network of SOMs and good people on the tech side as well. So we had, for instance, Arvid Rosengren, the world's best sommelier in 2016, I think, and Søren Polonius, which is the education responsible for education in ASI, I think, still, and a lot of other SOMs as well. I think we had about 20 SOMs working more or less full time to get the data in there, and also to build the algorithm. So we actually had a presentation Friday for a person in the wine trade, and they said this is it's extremely impressive what we have built, and nobody's ever done it before. Someone's tried, but we have done it. So it's if you look at the wine, a specific wine, of course you have the grape, and we have the oakiness, whether all the characteristics of our specific wine. That's one thing. On the other side, we have the dish. And then we have the basic information, which is the cooking style, if it's light, balanced, or rustic, the kitchen type, Italian, Asian, whatever, Japanese, and the main ingredient. That's not that complicated. Then the person who adds the information would be a chef in a restaurant, for instance, and then they will add the 5 basic flavors. And we have a scale going up to 100. So it has to go up to 100 in total. 5 basic flavors. We add heat and fattiness. So the chefs then should describe the dish with these 4 basic information, and then the 7 other flavors to that as well. And by that we create a dish DNA. On the surface, it's quite simple. It's chemistry, but on the back end, with all the tests we had to do to make this match, that took us years. We basically worked on this for 4 years to get it right. And when you have educated a lot of sommeliers yourself, Mark, I know that. Yeah. And if you're a somm, you're very thorough and you're very, very sharp on how it should be. So we today have a tool that will be excellent for the best restaurants in the world, and tested for years. So that's how we build it.
And absolutely, sometimes the simplest tools, what seems to be the simplest tools to a consumer, are actually exceptionally complex on the back end. But so I guess in terms of, if I'm just a couple walking into a restaurant, what's the goal? It's pretty easy to use the tool, right? So as long as the restaurant has their Wineally license, basically we can the consumer say, oh, I like mostly red wines, and so can you find me the best, let's say, red wine to match what we're having to eat? Is it as simple as that?
Well, of course, and but that in some restaurants you have, these are the 3 wines that we are going to promote tonight to get some wine revenues, maybe as an example. But you don't know what people are going to eat, for instance, right? And if let's say it's a Riesling, a Chardonnay, and a Cabernet Sauvignon, but maybe they don't like that kind of wine. So why limit yourself to having a specific wine for a specific dish? Because if you look at this on a mathematical calculation and see that what are the odds that a person would like that specific dish to that specific wine, maybe they just want to pay a bit less or more on a bottle of wine, or they are gluten intolerant, so they can't have the lasagna, whatever. So what we have done is to make it simple for the guest by the restaurants will via QR code direct the customers or the guests to the wine and food matcher for that specific restaurant. So each restaurant is their own universe, you could say. So the guests will get up the menu with the dishes available in that restaurant, and it will then be able to match the dishes they choose. Let's say you're a couple and you want to have 2 dishes and share a bottle of wine. Then you just add the two dishes into the wine food matcher, and you click on match, and you get the best matching wines in a second. So you don't have to, it's within 3 clicks you have the best matching wine to a dish, and then so it's very, very simple. On top of that, which we have done, which we think is extremely important, is to listen to the customer. It's easier to sell something people like than something you want them to have, right? So therefore, the obvious question most customers or guests can answer is what should it cost, right? What's my budget for tonight? And then we have another 18 filters. So if I want to have a mature Bordeaux wine from Pauillac in this specific price range or whatever. So you can get, it's not only the food and the wine, it's also what you like at that special occasion. So now if I'm going on a romantic dinner, I want to be romantic, I think. I would probably spend a little bit more on a wine than I normally do. So you can't really use history, stuff like that in any way. It's just about the occasion. You have chosen the place where you want to be, what kind of restaurant, expensive, cheap, or casual dining, fine dinings, right? Or Italian, Japanese, whatever. So in each universe where you are, you will get the best wine and dine experience within seconds. So it's very
amazing.
simple.
So very, very customizable, very simple. So I know you've really started to launch this year after so many years of building the technology. Started out in Europe, obviously, as your base, and United Kingdom and Scandinavia. So, why Nova Scotia as your entry point into North America?
Well, basically, that's your fault. Because
because we know each other, so I introduced you.
Right? And you talk so much about Nova Scotia and everything you've told me about, the food culture and I've heard so much about the lobsters outside of the coast and stuff like that. And we have talked so much about the local food and the wine that you really appreciate, and you, as I understand, there's a lot of foodies in Nova Scotia, right? And that's one reason. The other reason, exactly. And the other reason is that we had this great conversation with RANS, Restaurant Association. What I thought would be a great idea for the member restaurants. We are actually going out on a campaign with an specific offer for them later on this week, I think, or something like that. So we thought that it's an interesting part of the world when it comes to foodies, wine and food, and we can make a great test and hopefully get very successful in that geographically small area compared to the rest of the planet, at least, right? Yeah. So that's the basic background.
Start with the best place and move outward. So restaurants were challenged over the last few years by pandemic, which has led to a lot of late labor challenges. So, and I know at something at your heart is you're a wine, food, and restaurant lover. So how does Wineally support the restaurant industry?
Well, basically with the software that we are offering, if you buy the Wineally business system for restaurants, there's a lot of great functionality in it. But when you look at the restaurant trade, and it's basically the same all over the world, where you have a lot of problems getting staff. Not only experienced staff, but staff. And if you look at which we do, we talk to a lot of companies around the world about how to get Wineally out to restaurants, maybe together with other with partners like booking sites, or it's all about automatization now, where you want to have you're going from having a booking partner, and then you have some kind of, before you just had a menu. Nowadays people are not so happy about holding a menu in the hand. Doesn't matter if it's a tablet or in paper or whatever. They want to use their own device because of the pandemic experiences. And then you have QR codes, you have payment apps, you have a lot of apps, and then you have the point of sale system and then the accounting system. I'm absolutely certain that what will happen here is that the restaurant trade will go over to automatization, making things much simpler. So, for instance, one of the big companies globally, when it comes to the table bookings, they said that they got 90% of restaurant guests are looking at the website, maybe also on Instagram, something like that, before they come to a restaurant. 54% is deciding what to have to eat and drink before they come to the restaurant. And 90% of guests just want to be left alone when they're in the restaurant. So when you lack people to take care of the service because they are not there anymore, 25% has left the restaurant trade, and they will basically not come back for generations. I don't know, but it's a big problem right now, and will continue. It will not be different in a year or 2 or 3. It will take time here until it gets back. And meanwhile, restaurants are preferring to for instance, having a robot go out with the plates, right? They can have 10 plates, and you pay like 13,000 euros to buy one. And within 3 months, you will have an employee that will not quit, will come to work every day. You need some electricity or whatever it is, not petrol, I think. And they're finding new solutions. So where do we fit into this? Well, if you think that, think about the fact that on a booking confirmation or on your website as a restaurant, if you then put up an ad or a banner saying, before you come here, use the wine and food matcher to prepare for your visit. So in that case, you will be, when you come to the restaurant, you will not feel intimidated by, it's not because people are rude, it's more that you're intimidated by the complexity of wine. So if you can go to the restaurant, you know what to have, and you know what to eat, and you know what wine you should have when you come there. Then you can say, with Wineally, you will have more profitable customers coming there because they're willing to spend more on wine because they know it will be a great wine and it will be worth the money.
Okay, so we can boil this down. It's simple for the consumer, makes their choices easier, but it's also good for the restaurant. So if this sounds like an idea, and if you're a restaurant goer and you say, "Oh, I love this idea. I wish my restaurant would have it," is there a way for the consumer to kind of recommend their restaurant to kind of be part of that Wineally universe?
Yeah, there is. When we start talking about Nova Scotia here, what we do here is that when we go out with brands, we have I should say that we launched this on like 6-7 weeks ago. So we're just starting sales. We've got 19 customers as it is now, but growing every day, which is nice. So what we do in Nova Scotia is to say that we invite wine consumers. We will market in paid social campaigns and saying that if you go in and test a wine and food matcher, and we have a demo where they can do that. And if you would like to have this in your restaurant, please recommend them to sign up for a Wineally license. And if they do so, we will give them 150 Canadian dollars in a gift card for that restaurant. So it's a way for us to get people to try it, and then if they, maybe my best friend or my local restaurant or whatever, the restaurant will be extremely grateful because they will save a lot of money. The monthly license fee is 100 euros. So it's not like it costs a lot. They will be up and running as a restaurant in a couple of hours. And then basically once a week they need to update the wine inventory in the system. So it's very, very easy to use for the restaurant. And you can basically, if you don't have if like as I said, 99% of restaurant guests prefer not to go to a restaurant with a som because it's too high price, or they just want to. They are not feeling comfortable. It's too fancy. What, I don't know. So it's a matter of getting a great wine and dine experience in the other 99% of restaurants not having a som. And just to be clear, I got hundreds of friends that are soms, and if you like to talk about wine and what you've had and what they listen to their knowledge, it's excellent. Just the problem is that the storytelling in the wine trade or brand loyalty it's not there anymore. It's changing a lot. So there's a need for the wine trader to get new ways to get people to try wine. And the easiest way to do it, as we see it, is together with food.
Amazing.
Right.
Perfect. So look forward to seeing restaurants in the near future in Nova Scotia with the technology. And like I said, if you people out there interested, go check it out. We'll put up the URL at the end of this video, and you can play with the demo and then recommend it to your local restaurant. So thanks, Ole, for your time.
Thank you, Mark. Have a nice day. Thanks for having me. Bye now.